And as the debate still goes on, the Youth Bridge Foundation under the UNDP grant initiated an advocacy policy dialogue in Accra, Ghana on November 11, 2015. And as part of this dialogue, some major issues came up, including a recommendation made at the forum was for the call of the decoupling of the Ministry of Youth and Sports in order to have a standalone Ministry of the Youth to fully address the concerns and issues related to youth development. And I do have in the studio this afternoon the Executive Director of Youth Bridge Foundation, Settlething. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And thanks for your time here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Now, you're very passionate and your institution is very passionate about youth issues, but should it get to a point where we should have a youth ministry? Why this call?
You know, Andy, we take cognizance of the fact that over 70.7, let's say 70% of Ghana's population are below the age 35. This huge youth, the youthful generation that we have in the country, we think that government is overwhelmed by the magnitude of youth expectations or the issues that borders around youth development. Putting the Ministry of Youth and Sport together, you and I, we did a trend analysis of the national budget between 2011 to 2015. We realized that during this period, an average of 0.65% goes to the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Out of that, 78% goes to sports. So 78% going to sports, then you could imagine the definition of sports under the ministry. Football takes about 90%. Now, when you talk about football, everyone will say, don't talk about football, talk about Black Stars. Not even the under 20 or the Black Queens. You see, so we realized that a chunk of the budgetary allocation, which is even meager, less than 1% of the national budget going to that ministry, and a chunk going to sports development, leaves a lot of, much to be desired, Now, let me say that we're not talking about the fact that government is not responsive to the youth development. We heard the Minister of Employment talking about something else, an allocation, even though, he mentioned the 10 million. I'm not sure whether it's an additional 10 million to what the President has already announced, or the same 10 million that is allocated to the Youth Enterprise Authority. Now, you go to the Ministry of Agri, there's youth in agriculture. Go to the Ministry of Trade, it's all scattered. But it is not
you're touching on these modules,
yes,
and you're saying that it's not that government hasn't done much or is not doing much, but you want a lot more concentration on the youth.
Precisely.
Now, do you see this happening anytime soon?
Chatting with people around as this call was made, I mean, the question that comes up is it possible? I think it's possible. It's time we place emphasis on youth development. It's like a father having children and telling your children, go to school, but you have uncle A, B, C, and D. He will come and visit you on school and bring your provisions. Another one will come and pay your fees. Another will do A, B, and C. It is not coordinated. We asking for the Ministry of Sports, if whatever the dialogue will be, but we want the Ministry of Youth to have a stand-alone ministry that will look at youth developmental issue, coordinated approach in the youth development issues. Not to say that, hope that an uncle somewhere will bring something, go to this ministry. And I can say on authority that, for instance, there's certain provisions that the Minister of Youth doesn't have control over. So how does it fit into the broader youth development or the youth management scheme? Let us have we only put in the discussion at
I was even going to that quickly. You're laying the platform.
Fantastic.
What next?
Now, I think for us, it is a consideration. Let us begin to dialogue. The previous NPP have tried the Ministry of Youth and Education. There's been different models, youth and science, sports and science, different models, youth and sports, back and forth. Look globally. I mean, it's been different, it's different mix. Who knows? Ghana can set the trend. Okay. And I think that the dialogue or the debate can start now.
Okay.
And let's begin to look at, and corporate Ghana equally has a responsibility in investing in youth development. After all, they benefit. But the risk of neglect in the youth budget going to election 2016, I think it's for us all to consider.
And we just heard Seto Ting, he is Executive Director of Youth Bridge Foundation, which solely concentrates on the youth. They're looking at decoupling the Ministry of Youth and Sports and having Ghana focusing on the youth ministry in its entirety. Like he said, the debate still continues, so we'll bring you some more on that later.